Hi readers, welcome back to my channel, Lila Wanders and Reads, and welcome to Theme Tuesday. First of all, before I tell you the theme, let me apologize if I look flushed or if I start sweating. I just got done mowing the yard and I did shower and washed my hair and then sat down to do my makeup and immediately started sweating again. Maybe I should wait a little bit longer to cool off before I get in the shower after I mow. Anywho, that's not why we're here. We're here today because today's theme is Iran. I love, and always have, reading books about different cultures because inevitably it leads me to an aspect of history that I did not know before or did not know details about. And so this first book that I'm actually reading right now is called The Stationery Shop by Marjan Kamali. This is set in 1953. And I guess, I don't know what when I was taught history a million years ago, the CIA hadn't admitted that it took part or it encouraged a coup in Iran in 1953. I watched a documentary last night, fascinating. I don't remember all the details because it was a lot. But anyway, in the stationery shop, Roya, a dreamy, idealistic teenager living amid the political upheaval of 1953 Tehran, finds a literary oasis in Mr. Fakhri's neighborhood stationery shop, stocked with books and pens and bottles of jewel-colored ink. Period. I always mess that line up. Then, Mr. Fakhri, with a keen instinct for a budding romance, introduces her to his other favorite customer, handsome Bahman, who has a burning passion for justice and a love for Rumi's poetry. And Roya loses her heart at once. Their relationship blossoms, and the little stationery shop remains their favorite place in all of Tehran. A few short months later, on the eve of their marriage, Roya agrees to meet Bahman at the town square. But suddenly, violence erupts, a result of the coup that forever changes their country's future. In the chaos, Bahman never shows. For weeks, Roya tries desperately to contact him, but her efforts are fruitless. Reluctantly, she moves on, to college in California, to another man, to a life in New England, until a chance encounter nearly 60 years later gives her the opportunity to ask him the questions that have haunted her for more than half a century. Why did you leave? Where did you go? How is it that you were able to forget me? So, I got a little ways in there last night. Probably take me another day or two to read because it's Sunday and I've got chores. Sunday when I'm recording this. Next up is probably the book I am going to read next. I got this several weeks ago. It is called The Evin Prison Bakers Club by Sapida Golian, surviving Iran's most notorious prisons in 16 recipes. And I am considering doing a cookbook haul tomorrow. Put my glasses back on. How do you cheer up a woman who has spent hours cleaning prison toilets with a broken mop? The secret lies in a tres leches cake. In Iran's prisons, women endure horrors. They are beaten, interrogated, and humiliated in 1,000 ways. Even a whisper to a fellow inmate can be punished. Yet, in spite of anything and everything, they resist. They bake. They console each other, cry together, dance together. Sapida Golian, in prison since 2018, bakes scones for Nazanin Zaghari, Ratcliffe's daughter, a pumpkin pie for Nobel Peace... Okay, sorry, I'm fucking this up. A pumpkin pie for Nobel Peace Prize winner Narges Mohammadi, and Madeleines for Marzia Amiri, who was arrested for a May Day demonstration in 2019. The Evin Prison Bakers Club is a call to stand up for woman, life, freedom by a woman still fighting for a free Iran. This was translated from Persian by Hassam Ashrafi. I do not know anything about him. I just glanced at this. The information, the introduction is by Maziar Bahari, who is a figure in Iran Wire. Here he is. He's a journalist and documentary filmmaker. He's the founder of IranWire.com, which is where I watched that documentary on the coup, where the original Persian version of the Evin Prison Bakers Club was published. I talk about the translator briefly here for a reason, and that leads me to my next book, Shukufeh Azar's The Enlightenment of the Green Gage Tree. I've had this for over a month, and I have been very diligent, I guess, about trying to read more translated fiction and giving a shout out to the translator, because it is not easy to translate something as poetically into English as it is in the original language. But when I looked at this book, when I got this book, it just says translated from the Persian. And at the back, it says the translator's name has not been included here for reasons of safety and at the translator's request. Set in Iran, in the decade following the 1979 Islamic Revolution, this moving, richly imagined novel is narrated by the ghost of Bahar, a 13-year-old girl whose family is compelled to flee their home in Tehran for a new life in a small village, hoping in this way to preserve both their intellectual freedom and their lives. But they soon find themselves caught up in the post-revolutionary chaos that sweeps across the country. Bahar's mother, after a tragic loss, will embark on a long, eventful journey in search of meaning in a world swept up in the post-revolutionary madness. Shukufeh Azar just had another book published within the last month. My local Barnes & Noble does not have that, and that is very disappointing to me. Anyway, what they did have was The Immortals of Tehran by Ali Araghi. Let's see. This does not list a translator, and I don't know anything about the author, so I'm assuming he wrote it in English. As a child living in his family's apple orchard, Ahmad treasures his great-great-great-great-grandfather's, every mesmerizing word, especially when the seemingly immortal elder tells him of a centuries-old family curse, and Ahmad's own faded role in that story. And as Ahmad grows up and struggles to keep his family together through decades of famine, loss, and political turmoil in Iran, each turn of his life is a surprise, from street brawler to father of two unusually gifted daughters, from radical poet to politician with a target on his back. These lives, and the many unforgettable stories alongside his, converge to catch fire at the center of the revolution. So I'm assuming this is also about the 1979 revolution. Anyway, this one looks really good, which is why I bought it. It's not a new release, so I broke my streak of new releases only, and I broke it several times this weekend. Next up is, this book did not win, but it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize for Fiction, and that is The Persians by Sanam Malouji. I considered picking this up many times over the past few months, but I just haven't done it yet. Meet the Valiant family. In Iran, they were somebodies. In America, they're nobodies. First, there is Elizabeth, the regal matriarch with the famously large nose who remained in Tehran despite the revolution. She lives alone, but is sometimes visited by Niaz, her Islamic law-breaking granddaughter, who takes her partying with a side of purpose and yet manages to survive. Elizabeth's daughters wound up in America. There's a lot of women in here. Someone described it as Crazy Rich Asians meets the Persians, but make them Persian. Shireen, a charismatic and flamboyantly high-flying event planner in Houston who considers herself the family's future, and Seema, a dreamy idealist turned housewife languishing in the chaparral-filled hills of Los Angeles. And then there's the other granddaughter, Beta, a disillusioned law student in New York City trying to find deeper meaning by quietly giving away her belongings. When an annual vacation in Aspen goes wildly awry and Shireen ends up in jail, the family's upper-class veneer is cracked open. Shireen embarks upon a quest to restore the family name to its former glory. But what does that mean in a country where the Valiants never mattered? Can they bring their old inheritance into a new tomorrow? By turns satirical and philosophical, spanning from the 1940s Iran to a splintered 2000s, The Persians upends the reader's expectations while exploring questions about love, family, money, art, etc. Anywho, this does look like a fun ride, and I hope to get to it soon, but I'll just move my books around and make noise. But first, I've got to finish the stationery shop and then definitely reading this next. Anywho, that is it for me. If you've read any of these books, I'd love to hear from you. If you have any other books about, other fiction books about Iran or Iranian or by Iranian writers, I'd love to hear from you. And as always, if you've made it with me this long, thank you for sticking with me on my journey, and happy reading.